Hey guys, it's prom season. Don't be afraid, I'm here to help. My friend Catherine needs to shorten a prom gown for a young lady going to the prom, and she asked me for some advice. So what would be the best technique, she thought, something easy that had a good result. So in the past, we've all probably done a narrow rolled hem. It's kind of tedious. It doesn't always turn out pretty if you're not used to doing it. But if you use a serger, it is so much easier. So I had Catherine sit with me, and we thought we would share all this information with you guys and maybe make your prom season go a little smoother. So remember to give us a thumbs up, give us a comment, where you from, where you been. I missed you. Anyway, let's get back to business. This is my Amber600, and I'm going to just hit this drop down. It does so many stitches. The one I want today is number 14. It's a 3-thread rolled edge. So when I select that, I get this screen. It tells me that I'm going to use my blue position, my needle. I'm going to use my upper looper and my lower looper. So that's my first set of information. If I hit the information here, I get all of the positions and the little things that I need to adjust on the machine to make this stitch happen. So it tells me what plate to use, it tells me to use my cutter. All of these things are rolled edge. This is how I'm going to set up my machine. Why is that important? Well, it's important because if I haven't done a rolled hem since last year, I don't have to go dig out my owner's manual. I can just come here, and the machine is always here to say what it needs. So I am here to comply. So let's go to number 2. So number 2 screen on my information tells me what the stitch is for. So it's for edging lightweight fabrics. It gives a nice finish on silky scarves, pillows, ruffles, and napkins, not to mention those prom gowns. So let's close that. Here I have more information. I have my stitch, the needle that it recommends, the needle position. I'm going to have one needle in position B. All my fabric selector, my speed, stitch width and length, all of that information is right here. If I felt that I needed to adjust my tension, it tells me what the tensions are here, although I rarely have to go beyond the defaults. It is so well done, but I do have that option if I need to. So I am just going to go back, and I've already done a sample of this. I've tried it before. I know that for me, I'm going to shorten my stitch length so that it fills in that edge really nicely. So the stitches are closer together. Speaking of the stitches close together, for this stitch, I'm going to use 2 regular cones of serger thread and one that is a woolly nylon. So a woolly nylon, if you haven't seen this before, is it's a thicker thread. It's very light, but it's kind of less structured than a more tightly spun thread. So it's light, it's beautiful, and it fills that stitch in, and it makes the hem look more like a trim than necessarily a hem. You could do a accent color. People use this on napkins. They'll use an accent color, and it looks like the piece is trimmed rather than just hemmed. Today we're going to the prom dress. The prom dress is black, so we're matching. We want everything to just kind of look nice and an elegant finish. So when I use a woolly nylon, I'm going to use a piece of regular serger thread, and I'm going to make myself a thread lasso. So it's just a little loop that I'm going to use, and I'm going to capture the end of my thread in the loop and make it tight around it. So the machine because this is an air threader, is going to try and shoot this thread through the workings of the machine so that it's threaded and ready to go. Because a woolly nylon is so less structured than a regular thread, it can struggle to push that through the air system. Also, if you ever have to thread a needle with a woolly nylon, the same trick helps. The machine itself comes with a threader that you can use for problem threads or more difficult threads like this, but my little thread lasso works just as good. So let's set up the machine to thread. I'm just going to slide my lever over to thread, and I'm going to turn my hand wheel, making sure that everything is all connected. Then I'm going to use my tweezer, and I'm going to put my thread lasso end down in the machine. It only takes an inch or so, and press the button. And there it is. So here's my woolly, there's my regular thread, and if I pull it gently, there I am. I'm all threaded. So the hardest part is over. Whew, thank goodness. I'm just going to cut that extra bit off, and I'm going to place my thread behind my machine. I'm going to put my foot up because we all know that we want to thread our machine with the foot up. Then I'm just going to thread the rest of the loopers. Hey, you get back in there. That guy, I had a runaway thread. There he is. So now I'm going to thread my upper looper just like this. I'm going to take my same tweezers and I'm going to throw the thread down the hole and press the button. If I haven't given myself enough slack for the thread to appear, I just lengthen that bit, give it a little more slack, press the button again, and there it is. Pop right out, just like that. And believe it or not, guys, that's the hardest part of using a serger, is that much. I'm going to close. First I'm going to go back to sewing because I'm done threading the looper part. I'm going to go back to sewing, and then I can get to threading this needle. So now, remember when we looked at what features we were using this one blue needle, the blue path. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to come across. I'm going to go over here. And one of these days, I'm going to put these glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. The glasses come on. I'm going to use my tweezer again. I'm going to push that thread right through the hole. And I am all threaded. Just like that. I'm going to put my threads all under the foot. I'm going to close the door. I'm going to put my foot down. I really like this knee lift. I use this a lot with my serger. So if I push on the knee lift, it brings my foot up. I like it because I can have more control over my fabric. I don't have to take my hands off my fabric to put the foot up and down. So I really like that feature. With a rolled hem, we are going to use one layer of fabric, obviously, and I'm just going to skim that cutter. If I were really hemming a prom gown here, I would measure down to about a ½ inch longer than what I was going for, because remember, people, we can always take more off, but we can't put it back on. It's not fun. So I would rather do it again, a little shorter, and make sure that I had the right length than to give somebody the Pee Wee Herman look on their prom gown. It's never good. All right, let's go. We're going to skim the edge here. I'm going to press my pedal. Look at that. Look Look at that. I mean, look at the contrast. That's all thread. We're talking white fabric. It's beautiful. So it adds a very elegant finish. No little raw edges, no whirly bits hanging out there. It looks very professional. Anybody would think that it came that way, just the right length, or that it was professionally done. All this can be yours with an Amber 600. I'm just being silly. And I wish you well. And I guess that's all I have to say about that. Keep stitching.